The Dodgers lose Game 4 of the World Series. We are tied in the Fall Classic, and the Dodgers have some major problems on their hands that could cost them a chance to win their 9th World Series title. We're going to tell you exactly what those are. We're going to break down the Dodgers' Game 4 loss. We'll hear from Dave Roberts, Shohei Ohtani, Mookie Betts, Will Smith. Why couldn't the Dodgers capitalize tonight and take full control of this series? We've got a series on our hand, and we're breaking it down next on Dodgers Dugout Live.
It's time for Dodger baseball.
Welcome to Dodger Stadium.
This is the golden age of Dodger baseball. The Dodgers are building a dynasty.
You got it, Warrior Parade. We got it, Parade. The Dodgers punch back and head to the championship series. Ohtani starts the 50-50 clock. Mookie magic. Freeman hits the ball. Right field. She is gone. Start the party, Los Angeles. Your Dodgers have won the World Series.
Think blue, bleed blue, and I'm out.
Live from the heart of Los Angeles, this is Dodgers Dugout Live with your host, Doug McKain.
What is up, Dodgers Nation, and welcome to another episode of Dodgers Dugout Live, the #1 Dodgers podcast and Dodgers show on YouTube. My name is Doug McKain. I cover the Dodgers for Dodgers Nation, a credentialed member of the media. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMAC_LA. Thanks for joining us after the Dodgers lose Game 4 in blowout fashion, essentially. A game that was a 2-1 game until late in the 7th inning. This was still a ball game, but the Dodgers fall to the Blue Jays by a final score of 6-2. We are now tied at 2. And for starters, I think the word is frustration. I think the word is disappointment. I think the word is maddening for some of the decisions in this game. We're going to talk about Blake Treinen. Do we ever want to see him again in high-leverage situation? Spoiler alert, no. We'll talk about this Dodgers offense that struggled to grind out at bats and pass the baton and get a timely hit and just grind out at bats to put them in a position to score some games. We'll talk about Shohei Ohtani, who was good, not great on the mound. And night after he reached base 9 times and had 4 extra base hits. We'll talk about Anthony Bonda. We'll talk about what the Dodgers need to do to win tomorrow in a game that's not a must-win, but it's the next closest thing to a must-win. I don't like cliches. I don't like saying must-win when you're not facing elimination. So if you want to be Mr. Cliche and say it's a must-win, go for it. But the truth of the matter is they can lose tomorrow and still win the series, so therefore it's technically not a must-win. But tonight's game was extremely frustrating after the euphoria, the jubilation, the joy of yesterday's 18-inning, almost 7-hour game that ended in another Freddie Freeman walk-off, the Will Klein game, everything that transpired. The hope was that maybe that loss was so demoralizing to the Blue Jays that the Dodgers capitalize and take Game 4 and go up 3-1 with a chance to do something that's only been done once, and that is win the World Series at Dodgers Stadium. Well, that is out of the picture now. You can throw that away. The Dodgers, to win the World Series, will have to get it done in Toronto. And the last time the Dodgers did win a World Series at Dodger Stadium came back in 1963. Drop those comments down below. We got Ryan Peavy. It's a must-win, DMAC. Technically, it's not. That's just not how it works for me. I mean, it would be a must-win if it was an elimination game. I think it's the next closest thing to a must-win. I agree with that because you want to put yourself in a position to go back and have 2 chances to win the World Series and go up 3-2. But anything can happen in Major League Baseball. This is the sport where it's a lot of unpredictability. But tonight, the Dodgers, they end up with just 6 hits. They scored 2 runs. The Blue Jays out-hit the Dodgers 11-6. They win by a final score of 6-2. The Dodgers, as an offense, strike out 7 times, 4 walks. They had runners on base all night. They had runners on base and weren't unable to capitalize. They go 0 for 5 with runners in scoring position. Kike Hernandez goes 0 for 1. Max Muncy goes 0 for 1. Alex Call goes 0 for 1. And Tommy Edman goes 0 for 2 with some bad at-bats. The Blue Jays, they had runners on base all night. They go 3 for 11 with runners in scoring position. They left 9 men on base. Shane Bieber gets the win, went 5 1/3 innings, gave up a run on 4 hits, had 3 strikeouts, 3 walks. Flew Hardy, Bassett, Varland all pitched for them. Shohei Ohtani ends up giving up 4 runs on 6 hits. 2 of the inherited runs scored. Anthony Bonta unable to get the job done. Had 6 strikeouts, a walk. Gave up the home run to Vladimir Guerrero Jr. But let's start at the beginning on this one. Let's start at the beginning where the Dodgers, they had some momentum early. You had a fantastic catch by Kike Hernandez on the Lucas, the incredible catch there in foul territory by Kike. Momentum early, a highlight catch right off the bat. Shohei Ohtani punched out Guerrero on 3 pitches. That sweeper, he got revenge on that sweeper later in this one, but the sweeper was a sweeping early. You get through that inning. And then the Dodgers score first. Bottom of the 2nd inning, after a 1-out walk from Max Muncy and a single by Tommy Edman, Kike Hernandez hit a sac fly to right to score Muncy to make it a 1-0 game. Then Andy Paz with a runner on first. We'll talk about Paz. I think the time is now to make a move on Andy as far as his role for this series. Andy Paz, he flies out. And then the top of the 3rd inning, this is where you expect more from this Dodgers offense, but this is where Shohei Ohtani, he didn't have his best outing, and the velocity was down just a little bit. The command wasn't where it was against the Brewers, where you went 6 scoreless and had 10 strikeouts. He gave up a single with 1 out, and then Vladimir Guerrero Jr. falls behind the count, and he just really missed location on that sweeper, misses up and in, and Vladdy crushes it 395 feet to left center. A 2-run shot. That gave the Blue Jays a 2-1 lead. And I do want to preface this by saying, look, Shohei Ohtani gave the Dodgers a chance to win a baseball game tonight. I think that if you were expecting to get 6 scoreless and 10 strikeouts from Shohei Ohtani, my question to you was, yes, this dude feels like he's a superhero, and at times I do want to get him tested if he's actually from this planet for the things that he does. Last night, prime example. But the truth of the matter is believe it or not, he is human. And after playing last night as much as he did, they actually went to Shohei and said, hey, we'll take you out of this game because you're the pitcher for tomorrow. And Shohei, after the game, said, hey, I need to go to sleep as fast as possible. Look, the truth of the matter is you were going to have to score runs on offense to win this game. And yes, Shohei Ohtani pitched well. I think he wasn't his best outing, but he gave this team a chance to win. He gave this team a long time to figure things out offensively, and they just weren't able to do it. But if you're expecting 7, 8, 9 innings from Shohei Ohtani, that was never going to be the case. If you're expecting him to give you the Yamamoto special, a World Series complete game, that was never going to be the case. That's why it was so frustrating to see this Dodgers offense not execute offensively, knowing that. They knew what the assignment was tonight, and they failed that assignment. And Shohei, even himself, it's not like he had a massive game offensively. The Dodgers ended up with 6 hits. That's it. Shohei went 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts and a walk. Mookie Betts 1 for 4. Freddie Freeman was the only Dodger to finish with multiple hits. The only guy with a multi-hit game was Freddie, goes 2 for 4. But the rest of this offense, Teo goes 1 for 3, Muncy 1 for 3, Edman goes 1 for 3, Kike 0 for 3, Pages 0 for 2, Alex Call pinch hit, a terrible at-bat by Call, looking at 3 strikes. I mean, we'll talk about that. He wasn't good. But you look at the bottom of this offense where you got a combined 0 for 7 with Kike, Paz, and Call. That's not going to help matters when Shohei Ohtani is batting leadoff for you. There is no ducks on the pond. There are no run-scoring opportunities. It makes it easier for John Schneider to pitch around him and not give him pitches to hit. And we know when this offense is at its best, they're putting pressure on the pitchers to have to pitch to Shohei Ohtani. Today was the case. The Dodgers, you only got a couple. They got the double by Muncy. But they didn't get the home run. You know, I love the saying that I coined, and that is, if you want the W, you got to slug. Got out slugged tonight, and they lost tonight. But there were just so many opportunities. You had runners on base all night. Bottom of the 3rd inning, a 1-out single, a 2-out single by Freddie Freeman, and Will Smith goes up in the count 3-0. 5th pitch of the at-bat, he grounds out. It's been a lot of soft contact tonight and throughout this series. Keep those super chats in there. $5. The league wants us to do 7 games. In reality, the Dodgers should be stopping this team. That's just not true. The league can't dictate that. I mean, wear those tinfoil hats. Is this the same crowd that said that the Blue Jays were cheating in Game 1? Thankfully, the Blue Jays stopped cheating in Game 2 against Yamamoto, right? No. The Blue Jays are a really good team. That's why I thought it was silly. I mean, we had the Blue Jays, Dodgers going 6 games, right? And I was originally at 5, and then I bumped it up to 6 because I felt, okay, the national media, the people that don't really watch these games every day, but for some reason their opinions carry the most weight, typically they're the most wrong too. And everyone thought this was going to be some David versus Goliath, that the Dodgers were just going to roll over the Blue Jays. If you watch this Dodgers team all year, mostly things do not come easy for this team. But back to this offense. I mean, it's extremely frustrating. Lack of execution, lack of quality at-bats. They don't have this pass the baton mentality, way too many big swings, and maybe that was after last night where you could see in the late innings and extra innings, guys are trying to end the game with 1 swing, whether it be Max Muncy or Will Smith. We saw a lot of big swings, and I think that approach carried over a little bit in this game. But they had opportunities. Tommy Edman, a 2-out walk in the 4th. You went down 1-2-3 in the 5th, but outside of that, I mean, the bottom of the 6th inning, really where this game came down to was this stretch right here. So Shohei, the velocity down a little bit, command down a little bit, gave up the 2-run home run to Vladimir Guerrero Jr., but, I mean, there were moments where he was grinding out, getting the Dodgers in positions where you could score. But you give the 2-run shot there in the 3rd inning. Then he goes 1-2-3 in the 4th, struck out the side in the 4th, was looking dominant. Then top of the 5th, a 2-out single, then gets out of it. 6th inning, goes 1-2-3, struck out Kirk to end that inning with a nasty sweeper. He gave them chances to win. Shohei's won so many games for the Dodgers this year. He's put this team on his back so many times this year. This is a game where Shohei needed more help. This is a game where there was a group project, and they're like, oh, we got the A student in our group. We're going to be fine. We got the A-plus student in Shohei Ohtani. We're going to be fine. We can just chill. We don't have to do much. We'll still get an A. No. Tonight, Shohei needed more support. He needed other guys to step up. Mookie Betts, 8 for his last 50. Mookie Betts hasn't been giving you good at-bats. But where this game came down to, bottom of the 6th inning, it's a ball game. It's a tight one. It's a pitcher's duel. It's a 2-1 game. Freddie Freeman reached on an infield single to first. Couple batters later, Teoscar Hernandez, he singles to center on the first pitch. That sets up the Dodgers with runners on first and second, 1 out in a 2-1 game. And then that's where the wheels started to go in motion. That's where the dominoes started to fall. John Schneider, he goes to Fluharty to pitch to Max Muncy, and we proceeded to see two of the worst at-bats that we've seen from Dodgers hitters for this postseason. Max Muncy, very first pitch, a cutter on the outer half, flies out on the very first pitch. Very first pitch. Why aren't we grinding out at bats like we see the Toronto Blue Jays doing? Taking pitches, making pitchers work. You're making life easy on the opposing pitcher. And that was a perfect example there in the sixth inning. In that sixth inning, Max Muncy on that flyout, 84.9 miles per hour off the bat, had a 20 expected batting average on the first pitch. From a quality of contact standpoint, from an approach standpoint, from an execution standpoint, in a 2-1 game where we just are looking for productive outs. Can guys tag up on a deep fly ball? Can runners advance on a ground ball to the right side potentially? Can you just make something happen in a 2-1 game and you proceed to fly out on a fly ball that had a .020 expected batting average? If you're not into advanced stuff, that's not even that advanced, but it just tells you the quality of contact and the approach there was terrible. Okay, so that was the second out. That was the second out in that situation. Runners on first and second. Give Schneider credit. The lefty-lefty matchup works in his favor, but then it sets up Tommy Edman, who's better against lefties than he is righties. And Tommy Edman has one of the worst at-bats I've seen from him all season. He strikes out on 3 pitches. Very first pitch, sweeper down, swings at it, misses. Second pitch, fouls it off. Third pitch, sweeper down and in, swings and misses. The Dodgers got no runs on 2 hits. That's where the game is lost. Lack of execution in those at-bats. You know that you're not going to hit a home run every at-bat. You're not going to hit a double or triple. You're going to strike out when you face good pitching. But that was a pitching staff that you are missing pitches that you typically are at least able to put in play. That you're at least able to put in play and at least give this team a chance. And Fluharty, he pitched yesterday. I mean, he threw 14 pitches yesterday. Okay, that's a reliever on a back-to-back that goes out there and is able to get out of a jam with runners on first and second on just 4 pitches. That's terrible execution. That's on the Dodgers offense. They need to be better. That game needs to be tied at the very least. At the very least, in that 6th inning, the Dodgers have to find a way to tie that game, to get that runner at third, to do what the Blue Jays are doing. The Blue Jays offense looks just better and more consistent when it comes to contact and putting the ball in play than the Dodgers. It feels like there's so many wasted at bats. It feels like there's so much swinging at the first pitch and not making pitchers work, and it was evidence there. And then you jump to the 7th inning. It's a 7th inning. Like, keep this a ball game. If this is just a ball game in the late innings, the Dodger Stadium crowd becomes a factor. The pressure of going down 3-1 becomes a factor. The stars for the Dodgers, they're better in those situations. We saw the 9th inning, they got a little something going. Instead, though, Shohei Ohtani comes out for the 7th. I'm totally fine with it. No issue with it at that point. He was stretched out to go 7. Wasn't his best work. He gave the leadoff single to Varsho, and then Clement doubled to center. And just like that, you got runners on second and third with nobody out. And that was that. That was that for Shohei Ohtani. Exits the game. In comes Anthony Banda. And this constant problem with the Dodgers relievers resurfaced once again. And that is that you just can't finish hitters off. You can get to 2 strikes, but you can't get to the 3rd strike. And Anthony Banda, he gets up in the count 1-2, misses twice. Jimenez, worst hitter, one of the worst hitters in Major League Baseball. He's like Michael Conforto level. Like, he's bad. He's bad. B-A-D, all caps. And you got your lefty in that situation. To get out a lefty in this situation. And Anthony Banda has to be able to come through in this situation for this team to have a chance to win this game. A 2-1 game, 7th inning, and the 8th pitch of the at-bat. I mean, I could see walking him, losing a hitter, loading the bases, but he gives up a single to Jimenez, and that scores Varsho to make it a 3-1 game. They get Kiner Falefa to line to third. It looked like it was a possible double play to get Jimenez at first. If you look at the replay, no funny business there. Watched a million times. I'm not the homer that other shows are. I know that some people might think that maybe this is a safe call. That was an out. That's totally fine. I can live with that. That was a safe, was an out. He's safe. He gets it in there. It was a bang-bang play, but still, that was the play. And the thing is, it was overturned. Was it enough there to overturn? That's a whole other conversation, but the right call was made there. He was not out, and you move on from that. And then you look at the game plan after that. You look at where they were, with Banda. The thing about Banda, too, which is so frustrating, is it looked like he really had turned in the corner, because Anthony Banda now has to be that go-to left-handed reliever because Tanner Scott was a bust this season. Let's just call it what it is. It's nothing personal. You paid him $72 million, and he's out there throwing batting practice. I don't think the Dodgers want a $72 million pitching machine. They want a $72 million pitcher that can go out there, and you can at least have on your roster. Of course, he did deal with the surgery, and hopefully things are better with him. But the truth is that they were expected to have him on their World Series roster, right? And then, of course, you have the situation with Alex Vesia, and our thoughts and prayers are always with Alex Vesia. But the circumstances, he's not on that team, and he would be used ahead of Anthony Banda in this situation. And Alex Vesia, 11 days ago, when Shohei Ohtani was on the mound, he stranded 2 runners. He was able to execute in those situations where the inherited runners did not score. So Alex Vesia comes through in those situations. Anthony Banda tonight did not come through in this situation. Because Anthony Banda, you just don't have those other options, right? You just don't. And that was the move they made. He allowed a single and a ground out in the 3 batters that he faced. Both inherited runs scored. Just like that, a 2-1 game becomes a 4-1 game. And even at 4-1, you're feeling, okay, like this is manageable with the Dodgers offense, the late game heroics, the guys that are on this team that you trust in those situations. But then it's just not happening for Anthony Banda. And it's unfortunate because he had to retire 8 of the 9 batters that he faced in the NLCS. And Banda, he's given up 5 runs and recorded 5 outs in the World Series. So anytime your out to runs ratio is equal, you're in trouble. I'm going to say that again. Bonda's allowed 5 runs, and he's recorded 5 outs in the World Series. That's not getting it done. And then there's Blake Treinen. Speaking of ineffective relievers in the World Series, Blake Treinen has just been, can't sugarcoat this, no silver lining. If you guys tune into the show for me to be completely honest with you about the Los Angeles Dodgers, this isn't Sportsnet LA. This isn't a show that's going to just that's going to sugarcoat things for you, okay? I have to be honest with you. Blake Treinen has been awful for the Dodgers in the postseason. He's been atrocious, and we love him for everything he's done for the Dodgers. He was great last year in the World Series. The volatility of a reliever is extremely frustrating and maddening. And unfortunately, this year is just not his year. And it's nothing personal, obviously. It's just the truth is he just has not been able to get it done for the Dodgers. And tonight, Shohei Ohtani needed other guys to get it done. And yes, mind you, he put them in that spot. I'm not denying that. And it was not his best night. And I would not give him an A as a pitching performance. He's the reason why there's runners on second and third. But in the postseason, you are going to have starting pitchers go deep and try to steal some outs at the end of their start. And if they don't go your way, the reason your high leverage guys are high leverage guys, the reason they call it high leverage is because those situations are going to exist in the postseason. And the teams that win those games, their high leverage relievers are able to get outs in those situations and pick up the starting pitchers. Tonight, both of the guys that they were tasked to come in and be those dogs, right, and have that moment where you're getting the strikeout and you're like, ah, and the crowd's going crazy and you're pumped, both of them failed. Blake Trinan comes in. He allowed a hit to Bo Bichette that scored a run and Addison Barger, and they get a 4-run inning there in the seventh. And all of a sudden, this thing becomes a 2-1 game to start the inning with Shohei in the seventh, and then it ends with a 6-1 lead for the Blue Jays. And the Blue Jays get 4 runs on 5 hits in that inning. Blake Trinan and Anthony Banda just simply could not get the job done. And what frustrates me the most is the powers that be, Dave Roberts, the analytics department, the baseball development, whoever is responsible for going to Blake Trinan in those situations. I'm sure it's collaborative. Dave Roberts is the manager of this team. So he is the guy who deserves the credit for when they win if he makes a good move, and also he has to stand up and take the heat for a bad move. And I just don't know how you can justify Blake Trinan in that situation, because you're just trying to keep it close, keep it respectable. We just want a ball game at that point. We just want a ball game at that point, right? But yes, I get it. Not a ton of options out there, especially when they're trailing, especially when it's a tie game. You're not going to Roki Sasaki in that situation. Will Klein's unavailable, could be unavailable this whole series. Who knows what's left? Edgardo Enriquez probably unavailable, right? Dave Roberts is between the devil and the deep blue sea, so to speak. He is juggling dynamite where it's, hey, doesn't matter. Somebody's going to blow up on you with those guys that are available. But what I can't justify is this, at some point Blake Trinan is going to turn around. When? In the next series? In the World Series? No. This is the final series of the postseason. And the truth of the matter is that Blake Trinan has been mostly ineffective for most of this postseason. Blake Trinan has faced 25 batters this postseason. 25 batters, and 10 of them have gotten hits. 10 hits in 25 batters with 2 walks. In the World Series, in the Fall Classic, 10 batters have faced Blake Trinan, and in those 10 batters, he's allowed 6 hits and a walk. I mean, where are the signs that things are turning around for Blake Trinan? Where are the signs? I mean, yesterday, sure, there was some bad luck in that it hit a sound guy. But even yesterday, Blake Trinan, he comes in the 7th inning, gave up a single to Guerrero, Bichette single to right. So are you going to Blake Trinan simply because it's right on right? Because he's your best available right on right guy? Well, guess what? If this team prides themselves on analytics and going with the best move data-wise that would optimize the situation based on the matchups and what the numbers tell you, well, guess what? I have Bo Bichette splits right here for the regular season. In the postseason, he just started, right? Regular season, Bo Bichette against lefties. Wait for it, a 308 batting average. Bo Bichette against righties, a 312 batting average. Okay, batting average, old school. You want OPS? Sure. An 825 OPS versus righties, an 891 OPS versus lefties. So he gets on base more against righties. He slugs more against lefties. I get it, but the truth is, in that situation where it's still a ball game at that point, there's still a game to be had. Blake Trinan was bad the night before, and you went back to the well again. I don't understand that. You have to learn from your experiences, right? You have to learn from your experiences. And in that situation, what are you waiting for, right? What did Albert Einstein say? Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. Why were you expecting different results when not only was he ineffective, but he was ineffective against the same hitters that he was facing? It was like Groundhog's Day. It was like deja vu. Because they intentionally walked Guerrero, and Bichette singled just like he did the night before. And that single made it a 5-1 game, which then it becomes a laugher. It's a 4-run deficit, and then the Barger single, a 6-1 game, a 5-run deficit. It's over. It's a wrap at that point. Why don't you use Jack Dreyer in that situation? And look, I'm not saying Jack Dreyer necessarily comes in and dominates. I mean, Jack Dreyer came in there in the 8th inning. He did hit a batter. He hit Jimenez, and Clement reached on an infield single. But is there any Dodger fan out there? Let me know in the comment section. Is there one Dodgers fan out there that watches this team every single day, that goes to these games, that listens on the radio, that reads about it on Twitter, on Instagram, wherever you get your Dodgers information? Is there one Dodgers fan out there, if I gave you the option between Jack Dreyer and Blake Trinan right now, this year, if you've been watching this postseason, this World Series, is there one living, breathing Dodgers fan out there that would have had Blake Trinan over Jack Dreyer? You tell me. I'm sure the answer is no. Other thing, too, it makes me think deeper of where the hell is Ben Kasparius? Why isn't Ben Kasparius on this roster? Why don't we have an extra pitcher in Ben Kasparius? And Ha-Seong Kim has done nothing this series. He doesn't play. You already have Justin Dean that can run for you and be a late-game defensive substitution. I want to know why Ben Kasparius is not on this roster. I would much rather have Ben Kasparius facing hitters than Blake Trinan. Someone explain to me. Of course, these are rhetorical questions because I know the answers, because I know this information. And I know that Ben Kasparius, it doesn't make, and no, Ha-Seong Kim time, Ha-Seong Kim hasn't faced big league hitter pitching in a month. Okay? I mean, that's unfair to Ha-Seong to think that he's going to be some cure, right? But tonight, I mean, the game was lost by Blake Trinan. The game was lost by Anthony Bonda. The game was lost by the offense. And then you just look at where this team is at. And it's definitely we got a series. And I hope that if you've been watching every postgame show, every Dodgers Dugout Live, that I warned you about the Blue Jays. I not trying to be Mr. I told you so, but all the things that we've said about the Blue Jays as far as their ability to hit for contact and slug, and the fact that pitchers for the Dodgers had to win in the zone, and you had to grind out at bats, and you got to match their consistency and intensity offensively. And thankfully you won yesterday, because now it's a 2-2 series with 3 games to play. You're going to have to win this World Series in Toronto if you're going to win this World Series. And tomorrow, you better win. Not a must win, but you better win. Okay? Remember, there's only one time must win. It's an elimination game. But you better win. But let's hear from Dave Roberts. I'm curious to see what Dave had to say about tonight's loss, and then we'll hear from Shohei Ohtani. But here was Dave Roberts after the Dodgers' 6-2 loss in Game 4 of the World Series.
We'll start with Jim right up front. The microphone's right there, Jim. Yeah, the microphone's right there.
Oh, I'm sorry. Skipper, you're always talking about learning in every experience in every game. What did you learn from your experience so far in this particular series?
I think that we knew it was going to be a great series. This team is talented. They're resilient. Talking about the Blue Jays, and they came back fighting. Caught an early lead, and Bieber, does what he does and used the cutter, spun us, minimized damage, limited traffic, and we really didn't get a whole lot of good swings. And conversely, you see these guys, grinding and using the whole field and putting some hits together, and obviously, the homer by Vlad and. That seventh inning, they built an inning right there, and we just didn't have an answer. So I think the takeaway is we saw Yusevich not too long ago, and so that's certainly information that we're going to use and expect Blake Snell to be better than he was in Game 1.
About 6 rows back on your left, Fabian.
Yeah, Dave, do you think there was any carryover offensively from last night, just how long that kind of dragged on for guys?
I don't know. I think that you got to give credit to Bieber for making pitches, getting ahead. Those guys had the same kind of went through the same thing as we did. I felt like we were prepared tonight. Guys came in fresh, and starting off with a play from Kike in left field, I thought we had some good kind of energy early, and then it just kind of petered out a little bit.
I know I asked this the other night, but do you feel like offensively as a whole this postseason you've been able to find a good enough rhythm, or do you think there's still more that you guys haven't been able to tap into there?
We haven't found our rhythm. We haven't. It sort of draws dead at certain parts of the lineup and different parts, different innings, different games. Guys are competing. Certainly in the postseason, you're seeing everyone's best. But yeah, my hope is we regroup tomorrow, gather the information that we had from Yusevich, and keep him in the hitting zone and understand what that split does, which is certainly helpful. And when we get the fastball, really get on it.
One row closer, Dylan.
Dave, between the game last night, the 9 times getting on base, the heat today, how much do you think all that had an effect on Ohtani physically?
I don't know. Mark asked him in the 6th inning how much more he had. He said he had 3 more innings. So he's very, self-aware of his body. I thought the 6th inning was one of his best innings. And where he was at, the way the ball was coming out, I felt good. And just kind of happened right there where, Varsho gets a base hit. And then Clement hits a ball in the gap, and it just kind of happened right there where I just felt we needed to find a way to get a punch out, and trying to get Banda on three lefties. Obviously, they hit France right there at the top for Lucas, but yeah, he gave us a good effort. He really did.
Far back on your right, Bill.
Dave, you've talked off and on over the past couple of weeks about deciding, do you change the lineup, do you not change the lineup? As you balance patience versus now only 2 or 3 games left in your season no matter what, do you think it's time to maybe act on some of that?
I think so. I'm going to think long and hard, and it might look a little bit different tomorrow.
3rd row in the middle, Barry.
Hey, Doc, when we get used to, like, the last 2 games Ohtani played here, where he was spectacular, is it kind of weird when he has a sort of a mortal night like tonight? He's good, but he's not outstanding the way he was the last couple of times.
He's mortal, but there's also a lot of energy, obviously, on the pitching exerted. But they made good pitches. There were some backdoor cutters, some breaking balls, crowding him a little bit. And I thought his intent tonight at the plate was good. But, you look back at those at-bats they made good pitches on him. They really did.
Do you think it's unfair to put that much pressure on him to expect him to do those extraordinary things every night?
I don't. I know he doesn't see it as pressure. I would say that's what he expects from himself. It's part of being a fan and seeing great things from great players. So every time he steps up, I expect great things to happen, and maybe unfairly.
Do a couple last ones. Russ behind the camera there.
Doc, kind of the Bills question. You had to put Tommy in center field last night out of kind of necessity. Did you see enough to make you be comfortable with the actions out there to potentially put him out there?
Yeah, I mean, I've got to make a decision. Essentially, am I going to play Andy? Am I going to play Call, or am I going to play Miggy Rowe? So just kind of trying to think through all that stuff and net it out and see what gives us the best chance tomorrow.
One last one for Doc, if there is one. All right, Doc, thanks so much.
All right, thanks, guys. Yep.
All right, there you go. You heard Dave Roberts right there. I mean, he hopefully will be a man of his word and change that lineup, and you don't see Andy Pages tomorrow, because Andy Pages, he cannot be a part of this lineup. I mean, he's essentially an automatic out. I mean, I don't like seeing the Los Angeles pop-ups, the Los Angeles flyouts. Andy Pages has a .080 batting average in the postseason. So Dave said it's between Miguel Rojas and between Alex Call. So that's interesting, because if Alex Call gets the call, then you're going to see Kike Hernandez in center field, presumably, or you'll have Miguel Rojas at second base and move Tommy Edman to center field and have Kike Hernandez remain in left field. It's interesting because today you didn't really have great at-bats from Alex Call. He struck out on 3 pitches, but this is an offense that needs guys to put the ball in play. And his ability to possibly do that, and his ability to take some walks, and the fact that if you do have Alex Call in the game, you have Tommy Edman at second base, where you wonder, Tommy Edman's made some really great plays at second base. I mean, you think of the shovel play that we had the bases loaded with Clayton Kershaw, and the Dodgers really season on the line when you kind of look at it. The play that he made there was fantastic. I mean, imagine if that isn't Tommy Edman in that situation. If you got Kershaw in the game at the top of the 12th inning with the bases loaded, and Edman's able to make that play, saw some really nice relays. Also, we had an error yesterday that led to a run. So the question I have is, how much would that possibly take away from Tommy Edman's bat, which is bad in and of itself for the most part? I mean, he's had some moments for sure, but is there a lack of mobility in center field? Is there any downside to him playing center field? Does that hurt them in any way in those situations? And Kike Hernandez, too, range factor, him in center field, you have to consider it. But I personally, this is kind of a tough one. Rojas so far in the postseason, he hasn't really had his moments. He hasn't had those big Miguel Rojas moments. He's a guy that can lay down a bump for you. He's a guy that you look at kind of sing pitches. Alex Call kind of has that edge. Miguel Rojas in the postseason, he is 3 for 10. Had 2 hits in the Red Series and a hit in the Red Series. So early on, he was solid. Got 2 opportunities yesterday. Went 0 for 2. Didn't have a hit in the Phillies series. For the most part, he was good. Both right-handed bats. I mean, the truth is, it feels like the downside of taking Edman out of second base, where you really think he can have an impact, and then there's the ankle issue. Do you really want to throw him in center field? I almost think Alex Call probably is the move. I mean, you brought him in for these situations where, okay, you can kind of mix things up. You can kind of give you a bat-to-ball approach. Alex Call in the postseason, he's actually 4 for 7. Had a hit in the Red Series, had a couple hits in the Phillies series, had a hit on Monday. So I think I'm leaning towards Alex calling that situation. The truth is, you just need the Dodgers offense overall to perform better. In this World Series, Mookie Betts has gone 3 for 19, 0 RBIs. Max Muncy, 3 for 17, a home run, 7 strikeouts. Did have the big bomb up in Toronto. Tommy Edman, 3 for 18 with an RBI. Kike Hernandez, 3 for 16. So I think you feel pretty confident about what you're going to get from Shohei Ohtani and Freddie Freeman and Will Smith at this point. And Teoscar Hernandez, you want to see some more production from, too, just because we know he's capable of it. But it's that group right there that really needs to perform better. But let me know down below. I'm curious to see what you guys have to say. Let's have a little conversation here. Got some super chats. I'll read those for sure. Thanks for rocking with us here on the Dodgers Nation postgame show and Dodgers Dugout Live. $20 super chat from CP. Show is giving everything he's got, but it's a coach's job to manage stars and consider how 18 innings affects today's condition. We still need his bat for later and tomorrow. Dave's stubborn plan and over trust in players suck. We got Cantangra 75. Flush this game like the Blue Jays did yesterday, and we have to win next game. Going to be very hard to win in Toronto. This offense is holding this team, and starting pitching is back in both losses. Yeah, I totally agree. But let me know, who do you guys want to see in that starting lineup tomorrow? Betts needs Honeywell. That's from Fu. We got watch Seattle crush this pitching staff. Betts. By the way, I met a lot of you guys today. So many to name, but I did take a couple names. I'm gonna give shout outs to. Let me see who I got here. We got Nancy Adorian. Nancy came up. She was like, fire take. Misa L.A. Santos. Frederick. Some guy named Banshee. Probably met like 30, 40 people today. Amazing to see you guys. And really, thanks for everything you guys do for this show because, I mean, you guys are really like my co-host in this show, and it's awesome to see. But we got So What? Shohei. Tired of waiting for Betts to come through from Carl. Honeywell would force 20 straight pop-ups for Mookie. BC. We need Miggy Rowe. I do like the veteran presence of Miggy Rowe. I really do. And he's a guy that has had a really, really solid year for this team. There's no doubt about it. And you look at second base and what he's able to do there. I'm curious to see where Tommy Edman's health is at and how big of a roll of the dice would be to put him in center field. SM said it's over, dog. Come on now. Come on. I believe in Snell. D-Mac loves Roberts, Bilal K. Yeah, I did speak to Scott Boras, and that is Blake Snell's agent, and I'm going to drop that interview. And let's just put it this way. He told me some stuff off the record that I can't totally get into, but expect a much better start from Blake Snell tomorrow. Expect a really good start from Blake Snell tomorrow. Expect it, and I'm confident that we're going to see that. But now let's hear from Shohei Ohtani. I'm curious to see what he had to say, and then I want all your takes and on who they got a super chat 199. I feel like Justin Dean will hit a walkout grand slam. I feel like he's probably not going to get out of bat because we didn't really see that. But here was Shohei Ohtani after the game talking about his start, and I'm curious to see how he felt offensively and if he was tired because of those 18 innings and being on base 9 times.
And then we'll go to Fabian, Jake in the second row in the center.
Hi, Shohei. How many hours of sleep did you get last night? What time did you get to bed? And did you feel any differently today on the mound than you do during a normal start?
何時間寝れたと何時に寝たかと
何時間ですか2時ぐらいにベッドには行きました。はい。まあそれなりに睡眠は取れましたし、昨日はまあ長い試合でしたけど、はい。まあなるべく寝れるようには努めました。
Slept at 2 a.m. Felt pretty good about being able to have quality sleep, and yeah.
And then did you felt about the same as you normally do during a start?
そうですね。はい。体調というかまあそれなりの体調ではマウンドには行くことができたので、はい。
Yes, I was able to get on the mound in pretty good condition.
About 6 rows back in the right center, Fabian.
Yeah, Shohei, why do you think you guys as an offense maybe haven't quite been able to click in October quite like you were able to during the regular season?
10月打線がなかなか打てない中何か理由はありますかと。
というか、まあ、ポストシーズンはもちろん対戦するピッチャー、素晴らしいピッチャーばかりですし、まあ、そのチームの中でも、いいチームの中でもいい投手たちがまあもちろん投げてはくるので、なかなかこう数字上はまあ差が出やすいというか、そういうことはあるかなとは思いますけど、その中でまあみんながチームの方針としてやるべきことをしっかりできれば、最低限のヒットの中で得点できるんじゃないかなと思ってます。
We're facing quality arms this time of the year against really good teams, and we're facing the top of the best of the best. So I think it's not that easy. But at the same time, we could do, at least the bare minimum, and to be able to put up some runs.
2 rows behind the last, Bill.
I know last night was a weird game because of all the intentional walks, but generally, what are the differences that you find in how teams pitch you when the guys ahead of you get on base as opposed to tonight when they don't get on base?
まあ敬遠も昨日はありましたけども、その走者がいる中いない中でのその相手のピッチャーの攻め方っていうのはちょっと違うと思うんですけど、何か感じたりしてましたか？
まあそれはポストシーズンに限らず、ランナーがいる場面いない場面、まあどこにランナーがいるかによっても多少こう変わってはくるのかなと思いますけど、基本的にはまあシーズン中から何回も言ってますけど、まあストライクを振る、ボールを見逃すっていう、まあシンプルにそれさえできればどんな球が来てもストライクを打つことはできるので、まあどんな試合でもやることは基本的には変わらないかなと思ってます。
Regardless of postseason or regular season, I think when there's guys on base versus not on base, you're just going to just see just different ways of being attacked. But my approach is pretty simple. I swing at strikes and don't swing at balls. And that's how I evaluate myself.
Standing against left wall, Joel.
When your team uses as many pitchers in as long a game as last night, does a start today feel any different for how much length you feel you have to give and quality you have to give?
特に昨日の試合の中で中継ぎ使われている中、今日はちょっと長いイニング投げないといけないっていうのは感じてました。
それはもちろんそうですね。それはレギュラーシーズンもそうです。ポストシーズンで昨日みたいに、まあ、なかなかあれぐらい長い試合ってのはないと思いますけど、スターティングピッチャーとしては、まあ最低でも6回、まあ今日はもちろん7回まで投げ切れれば一番良かったですけど、まあそこができなかったのが悔やまれるところかなと思います。
Yes, I did. Whether that's during the regular season or the postseason, my goal is to be able to pitch 6 innings, and in this situation, this game, I wanted to go 7, and it was regrettable that I wasn't able to finish that inning.
Do 2 more in English. Dave on your left.
Shohei, while you've been a pitcher and hitter many times before, you've never done it in this type of high-intensity 24-hour span that you had with the long game in the previous night. Was it more challenging than you thought, body-wise, coming back? Was it different than you thought it might be, and how challenging maybe was that for you today?
二刀流の経験してましたけども、今回のシチュエーションで延長戦もあって、結構きつい経験でしたか？
そうです。まあ経験という意味では素晴らしい経験ができたかなとは思ってますけど、もちろん今日勝てなかったことに対しても、まあ反省、次回どこになるか分かんないですけど、反省点が必要かなとは思いますし、まあウィルもね昨日18回キャッチャーとして最後まで出てるのも素晴らしいですし、全員が素晴らしいゲームを昨日やって、まあ今日はね負けてしまいましたけど、まあいいことも悪いことも切り替えて明日の1試合にまずは集中したいなと思ってます。
Although we did lose the game, I thought I had a productive experience being able to experience this situation. I mean, looking at guys like even Will Smith, who caught every single inning out of that 18 inning, I think it was really impressive to see. So we just have to turn the page and focus on the next game.
We'll finish up in English in the first row here on your right.
From his view, what went wrong on the sweeper on the home run pitch to Guerrero? And then turning around, what made it as a batter so difficult facing Bieber for him today?
スイーパーの秋。
まあやっぱりスポットが良くなかったなっていう明らかな失投ではあるので、まあ悔やまれる一球だったなっていうのはまあ結果論からするとその通りかなと思ってます。
Obviously, looking back in hindsight, it was just a regrettable pitch, something that I wish I could have taken back. It was just a bad spot, bad location.
Go to Japanese.
いや素晴らしかったですね。もちろんポストシーズンの中で
All right, there was Shohei Ohtani. Some interesting stuff right there. I usually stay and ask questions. I had to do the show, and I think I would have asked Shohei Ohtani about how the lack of production in the bottom of the lineup has impacted him at the plate, because we know he's been great, right? But we're seeing solo shots, right? And I think for me, you just can't have Andy Pages at the bottom of your lineup producing like that, because it really, really holds his offense back. And one thing that I would say, and Dave said he might, and I hope I might change the lineup, I might do this, I might do that. No, you better do it, okay? The thing that if the Dodgers come in and say the only thing they changed was their socks and their underwear, that's not enough. There needs to be a change in the lineup. And I hate that it's gotten to this point and we're just a couple games left in this season, but it does scare me. It really does scare me that the fact that your number 2 hitter, the guy that's batting behind Shohei Ohtani, Mookie Betts, in 14 games this postseason, has a 688 OPS. A 688 OPS in the postseason as a whole. And in the World Series, Mookie Betts is hitting 158 with a 431 OPS, 3 for 19. If Mookie goes off and I stand corrected, I would be the happiest man in the world. I love Mookie Betts as a player, as a person. He won the Roberto Clemente Award. He's been great to me. But this is about winning the World Series. And the truth is, if I was Dave Roberts, and we're going to start playing this game, if I was Dave Roberts and it was my team, and this offense just has looked stagnant, have not looked productive, have not grind out at bats. They look like they're just too many easy automatic outs. And right now, Mookie Betts is close to being automatic out in a premium spot in your lineup, the 2-hole. For me, I would go Shohei Ohtani, Will Smith, Freddie Freeman, Teoscar Hernandez. That would be my 1, 2, 3, 4. That's what my lineup would look like. And I would push Mookie down 5th or 6th, put him by Muncy. Tommy Edman, Kike Hernandez maybe even be more dangerous than Mookie right now, just based on the results. But if this team doesn't win the World Series because their offense stunk, which 2 runs again tonight, the offense has not been good. I mean, they came into this World Series averaging 3.5 runs per game in the DS and the CS. And tonight they scored 2 runs. Yesterday, 6. Before that, 5. Before that, 4. But some of those, I mean, you got to give them credit, right? You got to give them credit for just winning those games. And let's not forget, it's a 2-2 series, and they won 2 games, and it's a 3-game series. But that lineup it's scary to me because Shohei Ohtani does not have opportunities. I do like the idea of Alex Call in left. You got to take Pages out. It's long overdue. Pages should have been out long before this. But I would, even if it was a slight change of moving Mookie to leadoff, just to see if he could draw a walk to put a runner on base for Shohei Ohtani, or hopefully get a base hit, and they moved him to the leadoff spot, maybe some things could change a little bit. Maybe you wouldn't see as many intentional walks for Shohei Ohtani because they'll happen to do that to get to Mookie Betts. We've seen that because of the lack of production. I really do truly think that's the move. I really do truly think that is the move, because the truth is you can't put all your eggs in the, okay, batting .080 Andy Pages just because of the defense, just because you think that he's hit some balls hard and he's flying out. It can't happen. It really can't. Other thing I need to see, I really hope that we don't have to see Blake Tryon again for the rest of this series. I really don't. I hope that tonight was the last time that he pitches for this season, because the guys that were available were ahead of him. And I do think that for Blake, because of those struggles, and I'm surprised that Dave didn't ask about that, because of those struggles, I do think that Sheehan, of course, should be ahead of him. Roki, of course, is ahead of him. Edgardo should be ahead of him. Will Kleines, if he's available, should be ahead of him. And then tomorrow, the good thing is that Dylan Hernandez, I know Dylan Hernandez gets a bad rap. I talked to him a couple times, got to know him a little bit this year. He cracks me up, man. He's not afraid to ask tough questions, man. I respect the hell out of Dylan Hernandez, even though I know some people don't agree with some of his articles and things, but he's a ball knower too, and he's not afraid. But Dylan Hernandez did say that Ohtani said he would prepare to be available to pitch in relief in the last couple of games of the season. So that's another guy that you would want ahead of in those situations. That's another guy you would want there as a possibility. So there you have that. That's another one. But Blake Treinen, we should not see him again. And the good thing is tomorrow, Edgardo, Roki, Sheehan, those guys are all going to be available. So if you get a really good start by Blake Snell, the offense comes alive a little bit, you should be in a solid spot. Today, a little bit of a punting game, a little mini punt. It really was. And let's be honest, it was a massive blow to not have Alex Vesia. It's just the reality of the situation. It is a massive blow, and they're going to have to navigate that. But let's hear from Mookie Betts. I'm curious to see what he has to say. And I'm going to open it up to all your comments. I see some more super chats right here. We got to Mehmed, $200. Thank you. Must-win game tomorrow night. Can't go back down 3-2. I have confidence in Snell will pitch much better than game one. Can't turn up lifeless like today. We've got some more super chats in here. Kinsado, 500 yen. We need a momentum change. Let Kim wreak havoc on the bases. That's the sort of stuff we need now. What's the risk of Pages? So here's the thing. I can tell you from my own sources and talking to people that it's not even a consideration. And Dave even said that right now. So it's not, we're talking about if there's zero chance that it can happen with Kim. They like Kim as the pinch runner, and that's where they're at with that. But here's Mookie Betts after the game.
It's one game. You guys are still in a really good position in this series, but with what Shohei was able to do and just kind of with how the offense was limited tonight, what was either Shane Bieber doing really well or just what was kind of missing from the offensive side of this game today?
I think he pitched a really good game. I mean, he kept it out of the middle of the plate. He pitched a really good game. You got to tip your cap to a really good pitcher.
Mm-hmm. With that, I mean, does it feel like, I don't think it's pressure per se, but just kind of wanting to get things going offensively consistently? Is there a feeling amongst the group on that aspect?
No. I mean, I think it's just part of it. I mean, I think obviously we would love to score 10 every game, but that's not the case. And, like I said, we would love to get going, but you just have to play. That's all you have to do is just play and see what happens.
Series now tied 2-2. Like, how would you describe the way things have shifted? Them taking the first one, you guys taking 2 and 3, and then on 4.
I mean, it's a series. Yeah. It's a 7-game. That's why you play 7 games. I mean, like I said before, man, they're not in the World Series by luck, so they're a really good ball club.
For you, mentally, emotionally, what's kind of the next 24 hours about? How do you process so you're mentally ready tomorrow?
Do the same thing I do every day. Just go to sleep, do my homework, and come to the park, hang out with the boys, and get ready to play. I mean, can't do more or add extra stuff to this. It's already enough, so we can't add more to yourself.
Mookie, with the ups and downs of the win last night, loss today, at some point, does it start to take a toll on you emotionally, and does it become sort of a battle of attrition to see who can, control emotions and the physicality of the series better?
I mean, it's however you want to make it. I mean, but we're 200 games in, so everybody's tired. Everybody's emotionally, physically tired. So, sure. It's however you need to get ready is how you need to get ready.
Does no one ask him, like, what's not clicking for you offensively? I mean, come on, man. All right, let's hear from Muncie.
Max, how much of the mental and physical fatigue of going 18 innings last night you think played into tonight?
I don't think any. We didn't play our best game and got punched in the mouth a little bit.
How do you guys kind of reset? Obviously, it's been a crazy 24 hours, really high highs, low lows. How do you ground yourself for a Game 5?
Yeah, it's another game. It's a 0-0 score. I say it every single night. Nothing that happens the night before has any effect on the next day. And so we have another game.
You said you didn't think fatigue factored in, but with Shohei playing all 18 innings, being on base 9 times, then having to come out and pitch in this heat and stuff, do you think maybe he was fatigued a little bit, especially in that
You'd have to ask him. I don't know how he's feeling. Obviously, I can look at him, but I can't speak for the guy. So you'd have to ask him that.
Max, obviously, you look at this now, it's best, 2 out of 3 from a mental aspect, and where you guys go to go at least play at least one game there. How do you look at it moving forward after tonight and after such an emotional win last night?
We have a 1-game series right now. We have a game tomorrow, and that's it. That's all we're focused on. We got to win tomorrow, and then we'll worry about the rest after that. But as far as I'm concerned, we just have a 1-game series.
Max, what has been challenging about this Blue Jays bullpen and some of the different looks that they're able to give you?
They're executing really well right now. We're not taking advantage of the few mistakes that they're making, and like I said, they're just executing. And anytime a pitcher executes, it's going to be a tough day.
How do you just kind of look at the performance of the offense right now when you guys are getting guys on base pretty consistently, but not maybe cashing them in as much as you want?
Not great. We're missing on the bigger opportunities, myself included. I'm one of the big culprits of that. I've had some opportunities and I haven't cashed in, and we gotta get the big hit.
Yeah, not getting the big hit. We'll see what the changes are. I do like that. Edmund 9th, possibly. Miggy Rowe 8th. Those are some tough at-bats. You got to just chain things up. I got a question here. What would spark a win? I definitely think a change in the lineup, a really great start by Blake Snell. Anytime you're going with the Sheehans and the Roki Sasakis and the Edgardo Enriquez's, you're feeling better about life, and the quality of life is just higher and better. But the offense needs to step up, and they need a spark, and I think that it's going to start with just walking to that clubhouse and seeing a different lineup. And this is no slight on Andy Paz. He's had a growth year in year 2. He's taken some steps this year. But right now, he's the closest thing to an automatic out, batting in the bottom of the lineup. And when you have Shohei batting leadoff, you need the bottom of your lineup to perform better. It's as simple as that. Like I said, my dream lineup right now, if it were me, if you guys asked me, what would I do? What would D-Mac do? You know what I do? I go Show, I go Smitty, I go Freddie, I go Teo. Well, let's hear from Smitty.
First, when you just kind of look at what Shohei was able to do on the mound tonight, just the fact that he could get into the 7th inning and what he did last night, what were you kind of seeing from him and how he was able to manage his stamina and really just kind of battle through this one?
Yeah, I thought he looked really good tonight. I made the one mistake to Vlad, backup slider that hit a homer on him. And, just that last inning, they got a couple hits. It just happens. And we weren't able to, minimize that. They jumped up ahead. And,
Talking to Anthony, he was just kind of mentioning just how impressive their bat-to-ball skills are over there. And as much as he kind of felt like maybe the pitch wasn't there per se, it was more of kind of what they're able to do, shortening up, taking some swings. Is that what you're kind of seeing from their lineup right now, and as you guys continue to find ways to navigate through them?
Yeah, for sure. We knew that coming in. They do a good job moving the ball, especially with 2 strikes, especially with runners in scoring position. It's something we have to battle. We just have to execute pitches, keep going, and we'll be all right.
All right, there's Will Smith, and look, Shohei made the mistake pitch to Vladdy. That sweeper backed up on him, and he crushed it. Give him credit. It's a great hitter making a great swing. But let's do a couple more, and I got to get some rest, guys. I've been living at Dodgers Stadium. I'm going to do a very early Dodgers Dugout live tomorrow, which will be exciting. But let's get some quick comments here. D-Mac, can you take over managing Carl? We got Dookie. We got Jays fan put Rojas or Colin for Pies. He's a liability. Bieber just made them rethink their offense in one night. That's a terrible lineup. What are you talking? That you must be a Blue Jays fan. That's I just have to assume that. I have to assume that. If you don't think that a top 4 consisting of Shohei Ohtani, Will Smith, Freddie Freeman, Teoscar Hernandez is a good lineup, then your name is Don Mattingly. We've got Pajes made Conforto look like Tony Gwynn. Hey, Tiny, you got me with that one. Yeah, eye exam should be mandatory from Rebecca. Jose Marrero, BC. Doug doesn't need to sleep until the World Series is over. I know, right? All right, guys, couple more bets saying they're all tired. I think they'll a reset day. Tomorrow's, like I said, you got to win tomorrow. Not a must win, but it definitely makes it where if you lose tomorrow, it becomes extremely improbable. Fangraphs has the Dodgers at a 55% chance to win, so it's close to a coin flip. But tomorrow, Let's flush this one. A little bit of a punt. Dodgers offense needs to wake up. We need a lineup change. We need to see better execution. Take inspiration from the Toronto Blue Jays. But one thing I want to leave you with is I don't want to see what happened in 2018 where it was this big 18-inning game. Max Muncy gets the walk-off, and then that game really is forgotten a little bit just because you didn't win that series. And I think that's what will happen to yesterday where, yeah, greatest game of all time, but if you lose this series, it'll almost be like Derek Fisher's .4 shot shot against the Spurs. It doesn't carry the same weight because you didn't go on to win a title. So we need to see better at-bats. No Blake Trinan. Shohei Ohtani's a big night. Mookie Betts has to step up. Clearly, they're going to just trust him in those situations. But let's hope the Dodgers go out there because this is going to be a battle. We've got ourselves a series. This could go 6. This could go 7. Anything's on the table right now. But the Dodgers are going to have to dig as deep as they have all season long to get this one done. I still have confidence in this group. I still have confidence that they are the better team, but they have weaknesses. The Blue Jays have weaknesses. And the one way to mask that weakness is by better offense. And the truth is, the Dodgers offense has underperformed all year, and tomorrow is the day they need to step up and show them that they can still be that offense that's potent, that can go toe-to-toe with the Blue Jays. They need to see that. And we need to see it tomorrow. Tomorrow, get the dub, okay? Must win. How about you better win? But that's going to do it for this episode. Let's do some quick shouts at the end because you guys rocked with me the whole show, so I want to show you some love. Shout out to BC, Sawyer Lung, Paul Gutierrez, Fubeka, Mr. Marty Mart, Bilal K, Bringing the Heat, Adam, Rose Caricio, Fu, Sunnyside, Young Yi, we got Jumbo Mumbo, Spooner Gooner, Spurdy, Vargas, Youngie, Jeremy Buckley. Bring it tomorrow. Let's go Dodgers. Repeater Bus. How about D-Mac starts tomorrow from Jay Franco? Truthist. We got Mr. Marty Mart. We've got Snafu. We got Spooner. We've got Randy King. Shout out to JRM, C3, Carl, BC, N-Rocks, Elbow. Rest of you guys. El Munchingo and CK3K. Lonely, J Bow. See you guys tomorrow. Jason Diamond. Change the lineup, Doc. D-Mac, my goat, working hard. Thanks, Roseman Carinu. Love you, brother. That's going to do it, though. See you guys tomorrow, guys. My name is Doug McKain. Follow me on X and Instagram at DMac_LA. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the notification button. Hit the like button. For the best T-shirts in the game, go to gearup.la. Join the LA Sports Report. Subscribe over there for a chance to win a Luka Doncic jersey and a Clayton Kershaw bobblehead. Go over there. Subscribe. I'll leave the info down below. Flush this one. Wake up tomorrow. Let's get a dub. Let's take control of the series. See you guys tomorrow. And remember that nothing brings us together quite like Dodger baseball. And until next time, think blue, bleed blue, and I'm out.
Start the party, Los Angeles! Your Dodgers have won the World Series!
And when the upcoming winter gives way to spring, rest assured, once again, it will be time for Dodger baseball.